Shalom, Israel. It's your brother Marcus G back with yet another Truth for Thought. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the Most High. Second of all, I want to say Shabbat Shalom to you, Israel. It should be towards the end of the Sabbath as this comes out. But I did want to wish everyone, hope everyone had a blessed Sabbath. I myself, I fasted this Sabbath. There is a reason for that, and I want you to keep that in mind. I fasted this Sabbath and had nothing by mouth from sundown, the world's Friday, till sundown today, the world's Saturday. So I myself did a 24-hour fast. I did speak with my brothers, my beloved brothers, King Mike Malice, King Gideon, and King Yada, and let them know I'm fasting this Sabbath. All right. Now that I've said that, this particular Truth for Thought is a part two to a Truth for Thought that I did some time ago. It was when I was doing a bunch of prophetic lessons. It was called, Are Your Eyes Open Yet? Well, this is Are Your Eyes Open Yet too? But we're just going to go right into it. We're going to start off, if you would, in your King James Version of the Bible with the Apocrypha. I would like for you to go to Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 12. Jeremiah 51:12. And what I'm doing is I'm going to build up to what I really want to talk to. I want to set a strong foundation. So we're going to start off by going to Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 12. And it reads, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Now, I'm going to tell you, there is no coincidence in me getting this particular scripture, and it has Babylon in it. All right. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes. So it's saying to make the watch strong, to set up the watchmen. Now, the word watch can mean a couple of things. In this instance, it means the people who look out for. So when you see watchmen, it's people that look out for you, Israel. That's what a watchman is. People that look out for you. Prepare the ambushes, for the Lord have both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. Again, it's no coincidence that I included this particular verse, which has Babylon in it. Now, the main reason, that's one of the reasons that I got this particular verse, is because it says, make the watch strong. So be looking out and set up the watchmen. Israel, time is drawing nigh. We need to keep watch. We need to keep an eye out. Are your eyes open yet? I want to go from there to Joel chapter 2 and verses, we're going to do 1 through 32. We're going to do the whole chapter. So let's go to Joel chapter 2. And we're going to get the whole thing. So Joel 2, verse 1. Pay very close attention, Israel. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. Here's a warning. Now, Jeremiah 51 and 12 basically gave a warning saying, make the watch strong, set up the watchman. Now, here's another warning, as well as some things to do. I'm going to repeat it. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. In this instance, Israel, I'm telling you, my mouth is a trumpet. I'm blowing it. I'm telling you, Zion, I'm sounding an alarm. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. If you haven't heard me say this before, which if you follow me, you have, time is drawing nigh. Verse 2, a day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong, there hath not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. Verse 3, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. So I want Israel, I want you to know I'm going through this account because I want you to see the sense of urgency. All right, let me read on. Verse 4, the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses and a horseman, so shall they run. All right, like the noise of chariots on the top of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. So they're not going to be killing one another. They shall walk, and this is in regards to an army, basically. That's why I said that they will not break their ranks. They're not going to be killing one another within that army. They shall walk everyone in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. Pay close attention to this next verse. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. This is a war. This is a war that's going on. right? But I want you to keep verse 10 in mind for sure. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Who can run from it? Who can hide from it? Who can escape it? All of the above. Therefore also now saith the Lord, turn ye even to me with all your heart, and with fasting, and with weeping, and with mourning. Told y'all hear that word fast again. The reason I was fasting this Sabbath was because something's coming. So Israel, like a trumpet, I'm sounding an alarm. Let me read on. And rend your heart and not your garments, and turn unto the Lord your God, Israel. Everyone. Your God, my beloved brother, King Mike Malice, just yesterday, heading into the Sabbath, did a lesson that broke down other nations in regards to the Most High, your God. For he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth him of the evil. Listen to verse 14. Who knoweth if he will return and repent and leave a blessing behind him, even a meat offering and a drink offering unto the Lord your God, Israel. Verse 15, notice again, yet another warning. Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly. Let's keep going. Gather the people. I want to stop right there. If you didn't know, we are currently working on the second royal gathering, which has also been named by our beloved Queen Tanya, the Love Gathering. This will be the second time that we will be gathering the people. We're still working out the details, but I'm extending invitations right now. I don't care if you're in a camp. We do not care. We do not care what camp it is. We do not care if you're not in a camp. We want you to come. If you're not in the truth, we want you to come. We are trying to gather the people. Sanctify the congregation, assemble the elders, gather the children and those that suck the breast, all the way down to the little babies that are still suckling the breast. Let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber and the bride out of her closet. Let the priests, the ministers of the Lord, so the ministers of the Most High, not these Sunday pastors, you know, not these the Christian denomination, not Muslims, not any Buddhists, none of that. It doesn't say any of that. Those are denominations of religion. The Bible is not of religion. Let me go back and read that over. Verse 17, let the priests, the ministers of the Most High, weep between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare thy people, O Lord, and give not thine heritage to reproach, that the heathen should rule over them. Wherefore should they say among the people, where is their God? Listen to this. Again, it's no coincidence that I got Jeremiah 51:12 that talked of Babylon. So I want to address this to all of Israel, but definitely the ones in Babylon. You're going to be approached and literally asked, and this time will come. It has not happened yet. Where is your God? Where is your God right now? Remember that. Remember that. I did a lesson on Jacob's trouble, Israel's trouble, trials, tribulations, and persecutions. Things like this are going to happen in Jacob or Israel's trouble. It's going to happen. It's to come. I'm trying to open your eyes, Israel. Verse 18, then the Lord be jealous for his land and pity for his people. So when they start doing stuff like this, the Most High is going to start becoming more and more jealous and starting to show more pity towards his people, not every fucking body. I'm sorry. What people are learning, this horrible doctrine that people are learning in the Christian church, everybody is his people. That is bullshit. In fact, we're going to get it a little later in this chapter. We're going to see. All right. Verse 19. Yea, the Lord will answer and say unto his people, behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith, and I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. Now, a lot of people be like, why is he going to send corn, wine, and oil to Israel? Because there will be famine going on. You're going to hear about it because I'm going to get to it. But I just want you to keep all of this in mind. Verse 20, but I will remove far off from you the northern army and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face towards the east sea, and his hinder part towards the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. I address this northern land or land of the north and the daughter of Babylon, just like her mother. If you've not seen it, I implore you, go check it out. But let's keep reading. Fear not, O land, be glad and rejoice, for the Lord will do great things, Israel, in this time, in the day that these things are happening. Fear not. Be glad and rejoice, for the Lord, the Most High, will do great things. Verse 22, reiteration on the beginning of the last verse. Be not afraid. So please don't be scared in those times of trials, tribulations, and persecutions. And I implore you, even if you are threatened with death, do not depart from the word, the truth, the law, statutes, and commandments. Even if your life depends on it, because it could very well become threatened by man here on earth. Be diligent. Be patient. You'll hear that word again as well. You may have heard it in things like the patience of the saints. You should have heard it a couple of times when I did those, my last two Truth for Thoughts about wisdom and patience. Let me go forward. Let me keep going. Verse 22. I'll start it over. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the land, for the pastures of the wilderness do spring, for the tree beareth her fruit, the fig tree and the vine do yield their strength. Verse 23. It's for you, Israel. Be glad then, ye children of Zion, not every damn body. And rejoice in the Lord your God. Not everybody's God. The Most High is not everybody's God. For he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain, the former rain, and the latter rain in the first month. And the floor shall be full of wheat, and the fat shall overflow with wine and oil. And I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm and the caterpillar and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent amongst you. So the Most High is saying he's going to restore all the stuff back to you that he took away from you in the form of parts of his army, the little creepy things. Verse 26, and ye shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God, Israel, that have dealt wondrously with you, not with everyone else. Again, this is prophecy. And my people shall never be ashamed. If you know me, you know it's a couple of things that I say. It's two things you shouldn't be as an Israelite. That's afraid and ashamed. You'll also hear me say there's no such thing as coincidence or irony. It's not. All right. You'll also hear me ask, are your eyes open? Those are things you will hear from me until, if the Most High willing, the sky cracks or this vessel of mine passing. You will always hear those things from me. All right. Verse 26. I'm going to start it over. And ye shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God that have dealt wondrously with you. Not everyone on earth, not every nationality, biblical nationality. And my people shall never be ashamed. That's the Most High speaking. Verse 27, and ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel. Not every damn where, not the whole damn planet, not all of earth, not all of mankind. Ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else, Israel. Again, my beloved brother, just yesterday. If you're in the chat, King Mike Mouse, one accord, confirmation. And ye, I'm going to do verse 27 again. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else, and my people again, Israel, shall never be ashamed. Look at verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. He's saying your, Israel, your, not every damn body. And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit. And I will shew wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. This is all the Most High speaking. This is all prophecy. This is all to come. The sun, pay attention to verse 31. The sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. Remember, make a note of, and I'm going to do it myself. Make a note of Joel 2 and 31. I'm going to revisit that again. All right. Verse 32, and it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. I want to stop right there. Because see, a lot of folks say, see, that mean everybody. Because they stop right there. I'm going to repeat it for you. And I want you to hear some key words in just that first part of that verse. And it shall come to pass that whosoever, that's one key word, but we got to find out whosoever of what people, shall call on the name of the Lord shall be, and here's another key word, delivered. Now let's finish it. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance. What people, Israel, what biblical nationality are directly associated with Mount Zion and Jerusalem? What it's saying is whosoever of you, Israel, the 1/3 of you, Israel, shall call on the Most High's name. In those days, they shall be delivered. Now, there are some criteria. Per Revelation 22 and 14. You must be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Also, in that 1/3, their name will be recorded in the book of life. I did a lesson on the book of life, and it clearly says you will be recorded in the book of life based on not just your works, which is the law, statutes, and commandments, but also your faith. Here's confirmation. because whosoever shall call on the name of the Most High shall be delivered. You got to have faith in the Most High to be calling on him. These people will definitely have their name written in the book of life. So let me go. I'm going to start that whole verse all the way over because I wanted to make sure it is understandable and unequivocally understandable. Who of anybody or whosoever is, who the Most High is the God of, even in these times of evil things going on in the world, who the Most High is the God of. All right, so verse 32, Joel 2:32. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and Jerusalem shall be deliverance. That's who the whosoever is, the people of Mount Zion and Jerusalem, they call upon the Most High. As the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. That the remnant whom the Lord shall call, y'all probably heard of 144,000 men. 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes shall be called. They make up part of that 1/3. That's why it says, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. So who will be delivered? The tribe, or well, the nation directly related to Mount Zion and Jerusalem, and those 144,000 that the Most High calls. Okay. I just want to set a firm foundation. So let's go from there. And we're going to go to Luke chapter 21. So we're going to go from Joel and we're going to go to Luke. We're going from the Old Testament to the New Testament. We're going to go to chapter 21 and we're going to start at verse 6 because we're going to see some things about Yahweh. Some advice for Israel in a certain day. All right. Again, Israel, I'm laying a firm foundation. And we're going to build up into some things that I want you to have your eyes open to. Let's keep going. All right. So we got Luke 21, verse 6 and 36. Verse 6 says, as for the, and Israel, please pay attention to this. So many of our people don't really pay attention to certain things in the Bible. But this is from Yahweh Shah, the Son, Jesus, Christ. That's what people refer to him as. I refer to him as Yahweh Shah. As for these things which ye behold, the days will come in the which there shall not be left one stone upon another, and that shall not be thrown down. If you cling into this world because you love your house, understand that house will be thrown down. If you cling into this world because you love your car, understand it will be destroyed. If you are any and everything in the world that you know today, understand that the days will come in the which where there shall be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. all this shit will be gone as you know it today. Keep that in mind. That is an eye opener. Are your eyes open yet, Israel? Verse 7, and they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? What sign or signs will there be when these things shall come to pass? A sign is a type of notification. Most signs can be seen, but your eyes must be open, Israel. Verse 8, and he said, take heed that ye be not deceived. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and the time draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them. See, these kind of signs, Israel tends to pay attention to. They're considered bigger signs. You know, when I did the Gog and Magog, I saw those signs. I did that in February the 18th, when I did that particular lesson for the Royal Gathering Part 1, for the very first Royal Gathering. I had been seeing those signs, and we did it February the 18th. I had been noticing those signs way back in November the year prior. My eyes were open. Are your eyes open yet, Israel? Verse 9, but when ye shall hear of wars, and I brought this very scripture I brought out in the Royal Gathering. It was one of three. First one was in Matthew, the second one was in Mark, and there's this one in Luke. They all are precepts to one another. But I'm going to read this one on out right now. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. Don't be afraid. I literally said it at the Royal Gathering. I even said there are two things. As an Israelite, you should not be. One of those things you'll always hear me say, that's afraid and ashamed. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must come to pass. But the end is not by and by. I want to stress, because I was stressing that front end. Now I want to stress the back end. Remember when we read back in Joel 2, when we were talking about the deliverance and calling upon his name? Just because you get through that part, don't mean to stop having faith and to stop doing the works. Again, per Revelations 22:14. So that you would have passage to the kingdom, you must keep the law, statutes, and commandments. And to be written in the book of life, you must have faith that will be recorded, as well as your works, keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. So when these huge wars are happening, the word says it's not going to be the end. But you still must be patient. You still must endure. You still must keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Even when they will be coming and you asking, where is your God now? Where is he now? You still endure. You show the patience of the saints. Verse 10, then he said unto them, nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Again, just this way back in the Gog and Magog. If you've not seen the royal gathering, you can go to my beloved brother Mike Malice's channel, and it is titled Mike Malice Live. A bunch of this that you're finna hear right now, I see it back then. Remember, we were saying the Most High said he's going to give corn and wheat and oil. And I said, because there will be famines. Let's go to verse 11. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places. Same thing. We read that back there. And famines and pestilences. We got a pestilence that's been going on ever since 2019, and it's still going strong right now. Is that not true, Israel? Are your eyes open yet, Israel? And fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. I want to make sure I got that down. I'm going to put it right here because I'm going to repeat that. Luke 21 and 11. I would make note of that, Israel. I'm telling you to make note of that for this particular lesson. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you, Israel, and persecute you, Israel. Jacob's trouble, Israel's trouble, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. Again, this is Yahweh Shah speaking. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Pay attention to verse 14, because they're going to question you, Israel. Those that are going to be exhibiting that they are of Israel, and they know they are of Israel. They know who they are. They know who their father is. They know who their big brother is. They're going to question. But listen to the direction that's given by your big brother, Yahweh Shah. Settle it, therefore, in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. Don't answer the question right away. Look at verse 15. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, with which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. You can find precepts for this in Matthew. You can find precepts for this in Mark, and they tell you what it's saying is, when they start questioning you, don't answer. In fact, one of them says, in an hour, the Most High will give you what to say, and then you speak. And this is why, because your adversaries, your enemies, shall not be able to gainsay nor resist that which you will be saying as the answer to their questions. Verse 16, still in the times that we are knowing will come, it's Jacob's trouble, Israel's troubles, a time of trials, tribulations, and persecutions. Not saying that you're not going through them now, but there will be worse. Much, much worse. Most High willing you and your vessel make it to see that day. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents and brethren and kinsfolk and friends. And some of you shall they cause to be put to death. up to and including death, you endure. Again, I went over this in Jacob's trouble, Israel's trouble, trials and tribulations and persecutions, truth for thought. Let's go on. Verse 17, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. Wait a minute. If Israel, you're being hated because of your big brother and your father's sake, it says you're hated by all men. That is further proof that everybody's not going to be going to the kingdom. Because the Most High doesn't deal well with those who oppress, persecute, cause trials and tribulations to his children. Now, I'm not saying that some of them, these other nations, won't be there, but they will be there as servants to you, Israel. Verse 18, but there shall not an hair of your head perish in your patience. Verse 19, in your patience possess ye your souls. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. So these prophecies are going to start to come into fruition and be fulfilled. But again, there will be signs, as we saw back in verse 11. But your eyes must be open, Israel. Verse 23, but woe unto them that are with child, and to give them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword. We're going to be getting slaughtered, Israel. And shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So this was the Most High saying when we were going into captivity, we were getting killed and going into captivity. And Jerusalem was overthrown by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled, which means there's a prophecy in regards to the Gentiles that still needs to be fulfilled for the end time. Okay. And there shall be signs, verse 25. I'm telling you right now, Israel, for this truth for thought, you want to make special note of verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth, distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Men's hearts failing them for fear. We've already covered, Israel, with you two things you shouldn't be: afraid and ashamed. But there will be men's hearts failing them because of fear. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Here come the chariots. The sky is cracking open. There's a scene being painted here. Again, this is prophecy, but you want to have your eyes open, Israel. I just told you, verses 11 and 25, I want you to make special note of. There's a reason. Verse 28, and when these things began to come to pass, then look up. And I want you to make special note of this one because I'm going to do something on this particular, that's going to include this particular scripture on down the line, quite possibly for the royal gathering part 2. And when these things began to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption, Israel, draweth nigh. Again, look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Verse 29, and he spake to them a parable. Behold the fig tree and all the trees. When they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand. So he's saying, if you look at a fig tree, when they begin to grow and bloom, you know that summer is at hand. All right. Verse 31, so likewise, ye, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of God is nigh at hand. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. And all of this is Yahweh Shah speaking. Remember this. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with suffering, and drunkenness, and cares of this life. What he's saying is take heed of yourselves. Make sure that at no time your heart, you began to cleave to this world and the wines of this world, the oils of this world. And so that day come upon you unaware. So have your eyes open. Don't be blinded by the world. Don't be blinded by the house that you love. Don't be blinded by the car that you love. Don't be blinded by that money that you love to make. Don't be cleaving to this world to the point that these days start to come and you're unaware of them. Your eyes are not open because your eyes are focused on the world. All that in mind. For as a snare shall it come on all of them that dwell on the face of the earth. So all of those that's in the world, like a snare. A thief in the night. It's going to happen that quick. It shall come to all of those that dwell on the face of the earth. Watch. Verse 36. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy, Israel, to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. So I want to stop it right there. But I want you to make sure you understood. I wanted you to take special note of Luke 21 and 11, Luke 21 and 36, as well as Luke 21 and 24. I'm going to be revisiting them. All right. So from there, I want to go to Genesis, because I feel like I laid a good foundation. So now we're going to go to Genesis 1. We're going to get verses 14 and 15 because I told you to keep an eye on some other verses. Right. In Joel, I told you to remember verse 10. In Luke, I told you to remember verse 25, 36, and verse 11. Okay. So now we're going to go to Genesis 1 and 14 through 15. And I want you to pay really, really close attention to this, Israel. I put this here for a reason. I'm using this particular scripture for a reason. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs. Not only for signs, but and for seasons, and for days, and for years. So signs is one thing. Then you have seasons as another. Then you have days as for another. And then you have years. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 different reasons for the sun and the moon. We're going to be keying in on one of those reasons, that being for signs. Verse 15, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. Again, we're going to be keying in on those great lights for signs. So from there, I want to go to Deuteronomy 4 and 19. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 19. And it reads, and lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heavens, should be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord thy God hath divided up to all nations under the whole earth. Why did I include that? Well, remember when we were in Luke and it said to look up? Well, to see some of these signs that the sun and the moon show, you have to look up. You must look up, but your eyes also must be open. So now I want to go to Psalms chapter 19. We're going to get verses 1 through 11. Psalms 19, verse 1 through 11. And I know, Israel, you probably getting antsy. What is he going? Where is he going with this? Where is he going? You finna see. You finna see. Psalms 19, verse 1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. Wait a minute. So these things, these great lights in the firmament, they show the Most High's handiwork. Day unto day, this is in regards to the sun. Day unto day utter speech. There's something that is literally spoken if you just look at the sun day in and day out. And night unto night showeth knowledge. I'm going to prove that second part for sure. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Every day at sunrise, it doesn't matter where you are on earth, everybody looks and says, hey, it's sunrise. Every day at sunset, same thing. Hey, it's sunset. It don't matter where you are, what tongue you speak. what foreign land you may be. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Hey, we have a full moon. It doesn't matter if you're in Venezuela or if you're here in Babylon, in Massachusetts. A full moon is a full moon. That is universal. Keep going. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the end of it. So this is talking about the sun and its rays. And there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. So the heat from the sun, there is nothing that really hides from it. If its rays touch it, you feel the heat. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. I just did over the last 2 Sabbaths in regards to wisdom. I just did 2 truthful thoughts on this. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eye. That's your law, statutes, and commandments. But check this out. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. Again, in my last 2 lessons, that's where wisdom begins. The fear of the Most High is where wisdom begins. If you've not seen the last 2 truthful thoughts, the first one was an examination of the fool and the wise, and the second one was wisdom, some things about her. More be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned. That's talking about these firmaments again. That's talking about the sun and the moon. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Again, we finna start getting to what I'm talking about for this truth for thought. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen. Because Israel, here in a few more weeks, there will be a sign. There will be a sign. Everything you need to know about the May 2022 total lunar eclipse. Did we not read in Genesis where the sun and the moon are 2 great firmaments to show signs, seasons, days, and years? So let's look at a possible sign. In fact, let's look at a possible sign. It starts out with this right here. Well, let me give you a little, before I go to that, I'm going to give you a little intro. On Sunday, May the 15th through Monday, May the 16th, that's the evening, Sunday evening into Monday morning of 2022, there will be what the world calls a blood flower moon, also known as a blood moon. I think we read something about the moon being a blood a little earlier. We're going to revisit it. This blood moon will happen for 84 minutes, an hour, and 24 minutes. Remember, I told you it was a particular reason why I started with Joel and speaking of Babylon. This particular lunar eclipse or blood moon will be best viewed in North and South, the land of the North, North America, and South America, in Babylon, in South America, in the daughter of Babylon and South America. Let's keep going. This will be 1 week. It's just a little fact for you. 1 week after the world's holiday of Mother's Day. Is there any? And if you know me, you know the answer to this. Is there a coincidence or irony in that? Well, let's keep going. I'm going to read a couple of things on it from you all, for you all here. As you see, that image that you first saw was a total lunar eclipse seen in the United States on April the 15th, 2014 in San Jose, California. Okay, that image was credited to NASA Ames Research Center, the Brian Day. So here is what I want you to really pay attention to, Israel. If you love looking up at the moon, you're in for a stellar treat this May. Now, I want you to understand this is worded by Esau. They think it's a treat. It's actually a sign. On May the 15th, 2022, starting at 8:32 p.m. Central Time, the flower moon will begin to pass into the Earth's shadow and a total lunar eclipse will occur. Here's everything you need to know to see this celestial. Here they go with one of the world's word. Here's everything you need to know to see this quote unquote celestial phenomenon. I'm literally going to say sign. From Chicago or most locations in the United States or Babylon. So here's man's scientific explanation for what a lunar eclipse is. And I'm just going to let this hover. I'll read a little bit of it for you. But I do want to get some different parts. So I'll read some of it. When the sun shines on our planet, this is how much they cleave to the world, our planet. The Earth casts a shadow into space. When the moon's orbit intersects with the Earth's shadow and passes through it, this is known as a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse only happens when the moon is at the full moon lunar phase. Before diving into the 3 different kinds of lunar eclipses, let's break down the different parts of Earth's shadows. The lighter outer part is known as the penumbra, And the darker inner part is known as the umbra. So here are the different types per man of this sign, which they call a phenomenon. A penumbral lunar eclipse occurs when the moon passes through the lighter outer part of the Earth's shadow. Oftentimes, the moon appears a bit more tan in color, but it can sometimes be hard to notice a color change at all. A partial lunar eclipse occurs when the moon passes partway into the darker inner area of the Earth's shadow. However, the moon is not fully eclipsed just yet. It usually looks like our friendly neighborhood space rock on the Esau. Has a bit taken out of it that grows progressively larger as the eclipse approaches totality. A total lunar eclipse occurs when the moon is fully engulfed by the Earth's shadow. Once totality began, the moon can appear reddish due to our atmosphere scattering away the bluer rays of the sun's light, just like the sun appears reddish right before sunset, as Esau's director of public observing, Michelle Nichols, likes to say. Think of a lunar eclipse as showing you the color of the collective sunrise and sunsets happening around the entire edge of the Earth at that exact moment. Listen to Esau's words. Pretty cool, right? Have no clue. Absolutely no clue that this is a sign. And the last thing that I want to go into, they talk about the color of the moon and all, but I want to go into this right here. Is the May 2022 lunar eclipse also known as a blood moon? Blood moon, again, this is Esau, is a term used to describe the moon's color during a total lunar eclipse, and it is not technically an astronomical term. Meaning it's Esau. Well, they want credit for something so bad. It's crazy. Terms are theirs. Definitely astronomical terms are theirs, as you can see. The term's usage has grown in popularity, and essentially blood moon and lunar eclipse are used interchangeably. So yes, this total lunar eclipse is a blood moon because the moon might appear red or orange. And it says, can I see the lunar eclipse from my location? This lunar eclipse will be visible for most of the United States of America, Babylon, as long as the clouds, and here's Esau again, they got to throw that shit in here, AKA an astronomer's arch nemesis, are not blocking your view of our rocky celestial neighbor. Again, this is all their wording. Israel, this is all their wording. The East Coast and most of the Midwest will see the entire eclipse. Places farther west might not get to see some of the end of the eclipse, depending on which Hawaiian island you're on. You may see some or most of the eclipse. Most of Alaska, except for the far southeast portion, will miss this lunar eclipse. So, and here's the little timeline. And I'll leave that up for a few minutes. But you see, even Esau says that the term blood moon, or the moon appearing to be of blood, and a total lunar eclipse are used interchangeably, right? So now I want to go back to the bottom. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we're going to revisit some things, okay? We're going to go back to our 1611 King James versions of the Bible. And remember that foundation that I said, I want to make sure that they saw. So I want to go back to Jeremiah 51 and 12. Because now y'all know I'm speaking of a sign a sign of one of the two firmaments of heaven, the two great lights in the firmament of heaven, which are the sun and the moon. So we're going to go to Genesis, back to Jeremiah. I'm going to go back to Jeremiah because it started out with having a strong watch. So let's go to Jeremiah 51 and 12. And it says, set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon. Make the watch strong. Set up the watchmen. Prepare the ambushes, for the Lord hath devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. Set up a strong watch. Have your eyes open, Israel. There's a sign that's about to come. Okay. Now I want to go to Luke 21 and 36. So let's go to Luke. We're going to revisit Luke 21 and 36. And all of these are verses that I said to make special note of. 21:36. Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. So now I want to go from there, and I want to go to Joel 2 and 10. So let's go back to Joel chapter 2, verse 10. And it reads, the earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon, which show signs, shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Then I want to go to Genesis 1 and 14. So now you should be seeing that picture that I'm painting. And the Most High said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years. And then I want to leave from there, and I want to go to Psalms 19, verses 1 and 2. So we're going to revisit Psalms again. Psalms 19, verses 1 and 2. And they read, to the chief musician, a psalm of David, the heavens declare the glory of the Most High, and the firmament sheweth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night sheweth knowledge. Are your eyes open yet, Israel? Are they open yet? We're going to leave from there, and we're going to go to Luke 21 and 11. So we're going to go to Luke. We're going to revisit Luke 21 and 11. And it reads, and great earthquake, sound like something we just read not too long ago. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines and pestilence, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. From heaven. Now let's go Drop down in Luke 2, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. Israel, are your eyes open yet? And we then want to go to Joel, revisit Joel 2. And we're going to go to verse 31 this time. And it reads, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood. The great and terrible day of the Lord coming. Well, why do I want to know, Israel, if your eyes are open? With all that we just covered, not only in the word, but also in the world, I want to share one last verse with you prior to me ending this particular truth for thought. If you would turn with me to Revelation 6, verse 12. And it reads, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Israel, I'm telling you, I've been putting up strong watch. And like a trumpet, I'm sounding off an alarm. Time is drawing nigh. All of these things we heard in this truth for thought. There will be a sign if you look up towards the heavens. There will be yet another sign that will be coming in the heavens in the form of the moon appearing to be of blood. This coming May the 15th into May the 16th. I'm asking one more time, Israel, because strong night, we saw who redemption is for. It's for you. Are your eyes open yet? With that, Israel, I bid you shalom. I love you. It's your brother Marcus G. Until next time, if the Most High will, I'm out.